welcome to the podcast. I'm here with my co-hosts Mika and Seth, and also Travisto. So, I think one of the things to start off with is to ask where you grew up, and like when did you start DJing?
I grew up in Mitchell's Plain, and I started collecting music when I was, I think, 5 or 6 years old, when I received a tape recorder as a birthday present. So recording music from the radio was something that I did from a very young age.
What high school did you go to?
Which school? I went to a school in Mitchell's Plain called Parkhurst Primary, and then I went to Westridge High School.
Oh, that's cool. So, did you have to study anything to become a DJ and an audio producer?
I was always interested in music and in audio. While I was at school, though, I didn't really think that I would ever have an option of pursuing that as a career. And when I got to the University of Cape Town, I started, in my third year there, I joined the university's radio station. And by that stage, I had been DJing a little bit on the side at some friends' birthday parties and those kinds of things.
Cool.
But I never had access to the kind of equipment that could have made it any kind of regular gig for me. And once I joined the radio station, I got heavily involved as a DJ and on the admin side. And UCT Radio also had a mobile disco. So, which if you were a member of the radio station, you could work on their mobile disco, which catered for people's 21st and weddings and those kinds of things. So around about my third year at university, I got more heavily involved in DJing, both as a radio on-air person and also as a mobile DJ.
Oh, that's cool. So, what do you think was your biggest audience that you've ever had?
I was very fortunate to play at Rocking the Daisies last year, and I think that was the biggest audience I've had. I've also played at a festival called Origin, which happens also in the Cape Town, in the Boerland area, which is also an outdoor festival, and I had quite a decent sized dance floor there as well. I'm not sure how many people exactly at either of those, but the festivals generally have a sort of a bigger dance floor audience than the clubs.
Ah, that's cool. So, who taught you how to DJ and become an audio producer?
DJing was pretty much self-taught. It's not something. I mean, you can have DJ lessons, but like with most things that carry value, once you've been taught the basics, the way to become good at it is to keep practicing and keep doing it. And back when I was learning, it was very difficult because DJ gear wasn't as accessible as it is now. So you can get yourself an entry-level controller, you can do things just on your laptop, whereas in the time when I was learning, you needed turntables, and they were and still are quite expensive. I was very lucky to have one or two friends who had turntables, so I could play on their turntables and practice with them. But as I said earlier, once I got into UCT Radio, they had the gear that I needed to sort of start taking my sideline serious.
Yeah, take it to another level.
And then that was DJing. And then audio production, I was in my second last year at university, and I got a in fact, it was my final year, I got an opportunity to work in a recording studio as an apprentice. So basically be the guy who makes the tea for the clients and watch and learn from somebody who'd been a sound engineer in the game for 20 years. And that was always somewhere I had seen myself, but I'd never sort of thought that it would become a career. And once I got in there and learned the basics, I was able to offer my skills to people who worked on various radio stations at that stage.
So, have you always wanted to be a DJ, or have you ever thought of being something else?
I actually studied to be a teacher because the kind of career opportunities that are available today to work in radio and to do DJ work really wasn't around at the time that I was at school and that I was studying. So I didn't really believe that there would be an opportunity for me to make a living out of my passion for music and for sound engineering. But like I say, I was very fortunate to get that break to become an apprentice in the studio. Excuse me, and to have access to UCT Radio when I got that break as well.
So, do you have any brothers or sisters? And do they also DJ and make audio?
I have one brother who also worked in a recording studio for a short period of time, but he has since left industry and he lives in a different country as well. So we don't get to spend much time together. But yes, he did. I mean, DJing was something that we did together for a while. Music is something that we obviously both had a passion for growing up and being in the same house. But he doesn't work in this industry anymore.
How many mixes have you made?
I like a couple of hundred, I reckon. Yeah, I've been doing as soon as burning CD technology became available. I recorded mixes as often as I could and kept copies of them because it's very difficult to get into the clubs and to play at events unless you have something to show to people, like an audio CD, for example. So from a very early age, I got in and I recorded as much as I can, so that if somebody said, "Can you give me a mix to prove that you can DJ," for example, I would always have something on hand to hand over.
So, what are some of your favorite musicians, and what type of music do you like?
I have house music. House music is my absolute favorite, and this is where I do most of my DJ work. I work in house music, but I like obviously working for top 40 radio stations. I love pop music. I've always liked Coldplay, bands like Coldplay, Michael Jackson.
Oh, that's cool.
Generally pop music I've always had a feeling for, and house music a lot of more underground sort of deep house kind of producers are. That's where I spend most of my money basically. Actually, getting into music in the first place, my father had a lot to do with that, because my father had a very extensive record collection, which we were playing all the time. And there were two clubs in Cape Town that have long since closed down. In fact, one is still going. It's called the Galaxy in Rylands. And there was another club in Salt River called Space Odyssey. And when I was in my last year of school, when I was in matric, I got to go to that club for the first time and went there quite a few times like while I was in my first, second, and third year at university. And yeah, I got to know the DJ there, and I was there quite often. And it was at that club that I realized that playing music was something that I was going to be doing for a very long time.
So how long do you usually take to edit audio? Like, say for example, a 1 hour mix.
Generally, a 1 hour mix, I'll try to do as much of it on the fly as possible. So if I can do, it will normally take me about, if the mix is 60 minutes, it will take me 60 minutes to do. And then depending on how good the actual beat matching was, if there are 2 or 3 mixes that need re-editing, I'll redo those mixes and then edit them back. So you're looking at like maybe 2 hours to have a final product, a 1 hour final product.
Okay. So do you have any pets by any chance?
Yes. I have two dogs and 2 cats.
Do you have any other hobbies besides DJing and audio producing?
No, music takes up most of my time, eh? I used to, I mean, I don't watch much movies. I'm not really a TV kind of person. You'll find me on the music sites most of the time, listening for new music and trying to find new tracks to play at upcoming gigs, basically.
Oh, okay. So the very last question that we have, which I think is very important, how do you like your steak?
Medium rare. Anything done more well than medium rare, I'm going to send back to the kitchen. Is that a good or a bad thing, Jason?
I don't know. I like mine quite rare.
Exactly. I don't mind if you bring me a steak on the rare side of medium rare, but don't bring it to me on the medium side of medium.
Yeah.
And yourself, what do you do, Jason?
I like playing video games quite a lot.
Okay.
And making YouTube videos as a hobby, which is quite fun.
Right.
I have quite a lot of hobbies.
What subject do you make your YouTube videos on?
Mostly gaming, because it's just I can just record it and then just put an intro and maybe do some other editing and then just upload it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And music-wise, what kind of music are you into?
At the moment, rap is quite fun for me.
Okay.
Rap's quite
and
nice.
who are your favorites? Who are you listening to?
Let's see. Eminem.
Right.
Logic.
Right.
21 Pilots.
Okay.
And I think those are the top 3.
Those are the guys. Okay.
What age did you start to DJ?
I started DJing. I think I remember the first actual time that I played for people. I was 14 years old, and it was at a friend's birthday party.
How long were you interested in DJing? That's question number 1.
How long have I been DJing? Well, that would be giving away my age, and I'm not going to tell you what my age is, but I've been DJing for a very long time.
What was your favorite radio station, or still is?
I have always been a fan of 5FM, and I'm very privileged to still be working for them after many years. But there's a radio station in Johannesburg called YFM, which you guys don't get in Cape Town, which I was also very privileged to work for, and a very youth-based radio station, which I really, really enjoyed. And I worked at Good Hope FM for a short while, and the time that I spent there, I really enjoyed as well.
Well, I think that's it.
That's us covered. Okay. Right. Well, if that's all from your side, then that's all from me.
Hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Have a great day.